So I'm addicted to doing these videos now. I don't know whether to share all of them or just share a few or what. Like, I'm feeling very anxious about the idea of like, look at this bitch who's sharing these videos. Nobody cares. I'm like, that's fine. I'm sure, you know, my friends will care and whatnot. And nobody has to care. You know, like, oh, it's so societal, isn't it? Like, how dare you show yourself? How dare you do anything? And equally, like, that's how I feel sometimes when people do it. So maybe my own judgement coming back to slap me. But it does feel good. So I'm just gonna, anyway, whatever. And also, my laptop's shit, so I don't actually know how much memory. And then I've got to delete them, and then, I don't know, I'm just feeling like very anxious. There's just so much pain, and it's fucking hard. I feel a lot of shit, and now there's this really annoying dynamic between things I want to share and then things I'm holding back because I don't want the world to see, and trying to pass through and understand that kind of mentality. And then there's the want to like go in deep and be like, I'm going to get a video recorder and a tripod and I'm really going to do all this work and blah 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 blah. That's scary. And then just waffling on, not really saying much. I definitely want to do like tarot cards and shaman stuff, so that's on the channel as well, and that might actually help people. And again, you know, there's a part of me that's fiercely defensive of myself and wants to be like, fuck anyone who doesn't like this. There's a part of me that agrees with people's judgments about why would I care about this self-indulgent woman rattling on. And there's the other part of me that's like, this might actually help people and be relatable. And just kind of putting it out there and just being at peace with what people think about it. Hello Jimmy. Jimmy keeps joining me on these videos as well, which is nice. I feel like he's my little psychic. No, just gonna chill there. Okay. So yeah, just self-love journey, everyone. I don't like myself. Fucking hate myself, actually. I either think I'm better than everyone else or think I'm worse than everyone else. I don't want to accept that I'm in the middle because average is mediocre. Don't want to go with the mainstream because most people that follow that crowd I think are stupid. That's wildly judgmental and not compassionate. Yeah, there's just so much to unpack. What is truth? What is love? What is life? What is existence? What's my version of God? Definitely believe in God. I just feel like there is a God, but I don't really know what I mean by that. And it's the same abstract notion of love. You know, you could break it down. So obviously scientifically, empirically, you'd be like, no, there's no evidence, so there's not a God. That's fine. And I think religion has its place and serves a purpose in terms of community and relation to each other, and you know, everything has a place and a use. And then there's like the shadow bullshit side of that, and it's the age old, you know, a knife can make a sandwich or stab someone. Do we ban the knife or do we try and educate? But it's a fucking mess. Everything's a fucking mess. So again, this is just for me. That's what I keep having to drill it in. Like, I'm doing this for me. I don't have to impress anyone. I don't have to be anything I'm not. You know, I'm not trying to be a guru or, you know, kind of advise anyone. Although that is what I want to do as a career. Not really advise. I suppose I could get into life coaching. Like, I do think I'm quite motivational. But that's definitely not what I'm trying to do here anyway. So I'm just trying to unravel myself and be present in how like scary and fucking painful that is, like, and then going through the shame and the guilt of like just being white and middle class and being like, bitch, you don't know anything about pain, and feeling small and like, oh, like, I get it, like people have it much fucking worse, but that doesn't mean I'm irrelevant or that I don't have pain and I can't feel pain. Getting that in, building esteem and self-love so that I can use the privileged position, which is still pretty shit and oppressed, by the way. Do you know what I mean? There's like so much to pack into that, and how divisive even the idea of privilege is in itself, and where privileges come from, like the term, do you know what I mean, the political term, rather than the actual fact of I am more fortunate than some. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different layers there. Yeah, it's like, I'm not saying I'm not privileged, but when that's used as a slur, then that's more divisive. And also, equally, you can't know someone by a statistic of who they are. Like, that's problematic as well, and it stems from the same root that the whole thing started on, about how different people, because of the way they look and the way they are judged and marginalised. But it, you know, it's so big and complex, and I don't know the half of it, and I'm still discovering it, and I'm still finding my place. And I don't think society's set up for any of us to belong or be an advantage, other than a very, very minimal few. And they're fucking geniuses, man. They've fucking engineered it spot on. And, you know, it's that meme when it's like, oh, the system isn't working. It's like, no, it is. That's exactly what it's designed to do. As for the destruction of it, or dismantling of it, I feel like self-empowerment is creating a different paradigm, different consciousness. That's dangerous. Then you get into poverty consciousness, you know. Are poor people just not manifesting enough? You know, that's bullshit as well. So things are both true and false at the same time. You know, your vibration attracts your circumstance partially. You know, does it mean, oh, you know, if I wasn't at that vibration, I wouldn't have been raped, therefore the rape's my fault? No, partially. If we're completely sovereign, can we reframe it experientially and say it was a lesson? Many people would fucking hate that. And trauma victims can live their life the way they want. For me, I choose to see it as a lesson. That's a coping mechanism for me. That's what helps me get me through, and I can see how circumstances and decisions I was making not led to that. You know, the rapist raped me. His fault, his accountability. But all the other things, you know, they matter and they make a difference. And stepping up out of that victim mentality, even though I will always be a victim of rape and that action, you know. So being careful about how we frame things, so we're not completely blanked in and completely invalidating other people's experience. You know, other rape victims might completely not want to see it like that at all. That's fair. That's totally valid. You know, maybe that perspective is actually just your trauma response, and maybe I'll become more enlightened and go deeper in and have a completely different opinion. You know, I know a lot of the time me trying to be over things and trying to bypass the pain of the trauma and step into that like higher self mentality is damaging, and it's avoidant, and it's delusional and fantastical. But sometimes it's genuine. And that's really it, isn't it? Like, you know, is your vibration being lifted, or are you just trying to avoid your pain? Because there is a physics to that, you know, mood and we're biological and chemical. That like there is a science behind feeling better But if we demand betterment because we don't feel good enough, then that's very different from the self-love of, I want you to feel as good as you possibly can. And then getting into the psychology of what's pleasure, what's pain, and, you know, all of that, and finding, you know, so much so deep. Like, I don't even want to go there. It's just too fucking much, you know. And I think that's it, isn't it? Like, sometimes it's just like, nah, fuck this. I'm just going to give up because I'll never explain it or know anything. Who the fuck am I to try and figure it out? You know, I'm scared of offending anyone by just saying how I think and feel. And then at the same time, you know, I so want to learn and invite others and invite different perspectives, and I'm so scared of being challenged because I'm so fragile, and for so much of my life I've been lied to that I don't trust anyone, but I want to trust, and you know, it's all so complicated and raw. But I do want to get to a point where, you know, I'm inviting that, but it doesn't feel good. And just being humble enough to be like, oh, I don't know, that's terrifying, because my nervous system and, you know, everything in me as a survivor, I don't know why that was that, but has been, yeah, I'm right, this is right. And again, it goes back to what's intuition and what's fear, what's a gut feeling and what's conditioning. You know, two events can look exactly the same on the outside, and it is only up to us. We're our own moral compass, and that's complicated when dealing with other humans, especially when we're so prone to deceit and fraudulence, because in this society it does pay to be that way. That's our whole value system. So yeah, like, I'm definitely fragile, and a part of me wants to smash it the fuck apart and really embrace criticism and embrace just fucking get rid of the ego. But then the same part of me, like, knows how painful and damaging that would be, and that there needs to be a certain kind of communication and a certain kind of identity to me. You know, I deserve to exist as the being that I am, with all the conditioning, with all the bias, with all the prejudice, with all the microaggressions and discrimination. Like, that's just what I've needed to do to get me to this point. And part of what will change that is accepting it, but that's scary as well, because you don't want to look at that. You just want to be like, you know, I don't judge and I love everyone. But actually, not judging and trying to love everyone has literally put me in dangerous situations that have led to horrible things happening to me, which I don't deserve, which nobody deserves. So yeah, please be kind and forgiving if I say something, and please know that I realise that I might be wrong, and I realise that I've got a lot to learn, and that I've got all these kind of cognitive dissonances going on, and, you know, please talk to me. Well, if you want to, obviously you have a right to live your life and react the way you have, but yeah, please, fuck it, call me out, you know, as well, but nicely.